Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into the story of the Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature the portrait of a real person rather than a symbolic figure like Liberty. The obverse, or front, displays a right-facing bust of President Lincoln with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty," to the left, and the year of mintage to the right. On the reverse, two wheat stalks curve along the sides, framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. At the top appears the motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. This simple yet powerful design gave the coin its nickname, the Wheat Penny. 1946, a year of transition. By 1946, the world was adjusting to peace after the devastating years of World War II. The U.S. Mint, too, was in transition. During the war, from 1943 to 1945, coin production faced shortages of metals like copper and tin. In fact, in 1943, pennies were made of zinc-coated steel instead of copper to conserve resources for the war effort, but by 1946, the war had ended, and the mint returned to using a copper alloy for the penny. Each 1946 Lincoln cent was struck from an alloy of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it the classic reddish-brown color collectors admire. Where it was minted, the 1946 Wheat Penny was struck at 3 different U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, with over 991 million coins produced; Denver Mint, marked with a D, producing about 315 million coins; San Francisco Mint, marked with an S, producing over 198 million coins, with a combined total of more than 1.5 billion pennies. The 1946 issue was far from rare in circulation, collectability and value because of its massive mintage. The 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny is considered common among collectors. Most examples that circulated heavily are only worth a few cents above face value, depending on condition. A well-worn 1946 penny usually sells for 3 to 10 cents. Uncirculated examples, with no wear and sharp details, can fetch $2 to $5 or more. Higher grades with original mint luster, known as red examples, can command prices from $20 to several $100s, especially if certified by grading services. Mint errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks, can raise the value significantly. Collectors prize these unusual pieces as unique artifacts of the minting process. The legacy of the Wheat Penny. The Wheat Penny series ran from 1909 until 1958, when the reverse design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial. Yet the 1946 penny remains a favorite among coin enthusiasts. It tells the story of post-war America, of a nation shifting from wartime sacrifice to peacetime prosperity, yet still grounded in the everyday currency that passed through millions of hands. For many people, finding a wheat penny in change sparks nostalgia and curiosity. It connects us to parents, grandparents, and even great-grandparents who once used these same coins to buy a loaf of bread, a gallon of gas, or a newspaper. Closing thoughts. The 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny may not be the rarest or most valuable coin in American history, but it carries historical importance. It represents the return of stability after a turbulent time, honors one of the greatest American presidents, and continues to attract collectors more than 75 years later. So, the next time you come across a 1946 Wheat Penny, remember, it's more than just a cent. It's a reminder of history, heritage, and the simple beauty of coins that connect generations. Next coin. One of America's most iconic coins, the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny, also known as the 1-cent coin. While at first glance it might look like just another small copper coin, its history, design, and collectible value make it truly fascinating. Origins of the Lincoln Wheat Penny. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This was historic because it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. Before then, American coins mostly displayed symbols of liberty, eagles, or other allegorical figures. The coin was designed by Victor David Brenner, a Lithuanian-American sculptor. On the front, or obverse, he created a detailed portrait of Lincoln. The back, or reverse, featured 2 wheat stalks curving along the sides, which is why collectors call it the Wheat Penny. By the time we get to 1952, the Lincoln wheat penny had already been in circulation for more than 40 years, and it was still loved by Americans everywhere. Design details of the 1952 penny. On the obverse side, you'll find a right-facing bust of Abraham Lincoln. Above him, the famous motto, "In God We Trust." To the left, the word "Liberty." To the right, the date 1952, along with a mint mark if it was struck in Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. On the reverse side, you'll see two wheat stalks surrounding the words, 1 cent. Above, the motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. And in the center, United States of America. It's a simple design, but one that carries strong symbolism: Lincoln's portrait for unity and leadership, and wheat for prosperity. Composition and mintage. The 1952 Lincoln wheat penny was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it that classic reddish-brown tone. Each coin weighs 3.11 grams and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. Now let's look at the minting numbers. Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, over 186 million coins struck. Denver Mint, D, around 746 million coins struck. San Francisco Mint, S, about 137 million coins struck. That's more than 1 billion pennies in total for 1952 alone. Clearly, these coins were made in huge numbers to support America's growing economy in the post-World War II era. Historical context: in 1952, America was going through change. The country was recovering from World War II and adjusting to a new global role as a superpower. At home, families were moving into suburbs, television was becoming popular, and a gallon of gas cost just 27 cents. In this environment, the penny was still very useful. A few pennies could buy candy, postage stamps, or even a ride on a bus. So while today we often overlook the humble cent, back in 1952 it had real purchasing power, collectability and value, because more than 1 billion 1952 pennies were struck. Most of them are not rare. In circulated condition, they're worth just a few cents each. However, their value increases if the coin is in excellent shape. A 1952 penny in uncirculated, mint state condition might sell for $1 to $5. Special higher grade examples, especially with a strong red color, can reach $20 or more. Proof-like or error coins, such as double dies or off-center strikes, are highly sought after and can be worth hundreds of dollars. For collectors, the 1952 wheat penny is not about rarity but about completing a Lincoln cent collection, which spans from 1909 to 1958. After 1958, the design changed to the Lincoln Memorial reverse, making the wheat penny series complete. Conclusion: so, the 1952 Lincoln wheat penny may not be the rarest coin, but it represents a rich history. From honoring Abraham Lincoln to serving in everyday transactions during a pivotal era in American life, this little copper coin tells a big story. If you have a 1952 penny in your pocket or coin jar, take a closer look. It's more than just 1 cent, it's a piece of history. Next coin, where we explore the fascinating history behind some of the world's most iconic and collectible coins. Today, we're diving into one of the most famous pennies ever minted in the United States, the 1955 Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, this may seem like just another small copper coin, but the 1955 penny has become legendary among collectors for its history, rarity, and the intriguing eras that surround it. So let's go back in time and uncover its story, the legacy of the Lincoln wheat penny. The Lincoln wheat penny series began in 1909, introduced to celebrate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin replaced the Indian head cent and became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure instead of a symbolic image. The obverse, or front, features the bust of Abraham Lincoln, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date of mintage. The reverse side carries 2 stalks of wheat, framing the words, 1 cent, United States of America, and E pluribus unum. These wheat stalks gave the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny. By 1955, the Lincoln wheat penny was already a well-established part of American coinage and a common sight in circulation. But that year, something unusual happened that would make this penny stand out forever: the 1955 double die error. The 1955 penny is most famous because of the double die obverse error. Due to a misalignment during the minting process at the Philadelphia Mint, some of the dies used to strike the coins showed strong doubling on the inscriptions. This means that the words, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date, 1955, appear doubled, almost like a blurry shadow. The error was strikingly obvious, making it one of the most dramatic double-die coins in U.S. history. It's estimated that around 20,000 to 24,000 of these error coins were released into circulation, mostly through cigarette vending machines in New England. Imagine the surprise of ordinary people back in 1955 when they noticed these unusual coins in their pocket change. Today, the 1955 double-die penny is one of the most famous error coins ever produced, and it remains highly sought after by collectors worldwide. Regular 1955 wheat pennies. Of course, not every 1955 Lincoln wheat penny has the double-die error. Millions of regular pennies were minted that year. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint struck 330 million wheat pennies in 1955. These standard coins are far more common, though still collectible, especially in high grades. Collectors pay special attention to the condition of the coin. Uncirculated examples with bright red luster are worth much more than circulated ones that show heavy wear. Value and collectability. Now, let's talk about value. A normal 1955 wheat penny in average circulated condition is worth just a few cents above face value. However, in uncirculated condition, prices can rise into the tens of dollars, but the real star is the 1955 double-die obverse penny. Even in well-worn condition, these coins can fetch hundreds to thousands of dollars. High-grade examples certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC have sold for over $10,000 at auction. This combination of historical significance, rarity, and dramatic appearance has made the 1955 double-die penny a crown jewel in U.S. coin collecting. Closing thoughts. The 1955 Lincoln wheat penny is a reminder of how even the smallest mistakes can create lasting history. What began as a simple 1-cent coin has become a prized treasure, cherished by collectors for decades. So, next time you come across an old wheat penny, take a closer look. You never know if you might be holding a small piece of numismatic history. 1958 Lincoln wheat penny, a small copper coin that marked the end of an era in American numismatics. Though just 1 cent in value, this coin carries with it history, symbolism, and collectible interest that far outweigh its face value. The legacy of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909, commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin broke new ground. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and not just an allegorical figure. On the obverse, or front, Lincoln's portrait is shown in profile, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year of issue. This design has become iconic and has endured through multiple changes. On the reverse of the 1958 penny still carried the wheat ears design, also created by Brenner. 2 stalks of wheat frame the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, while the national motto, E Pluribus Unum, arches across the top. Why 1958 was historic? The year 1958 is significant because it was the final year the Lincoln cent bore the wheat ears reverse design. Beginning in 1959, the reverse was changed to the Lincoln Memorial, honoring the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This makes the 1958 penny the last of the wheat pennies, closing a chapter that had lasted nearly 50 years. Composition and minting. The 1958 Lincoln cent was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a composition that had been standard for decades, giving the coin its distinctive reddish-brown color. In terms of minting, the Philadelphia Mint produced the majority of the 1958 pennies without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint struck coins with a small d beneath the date, Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark. About 252 million coins were struck, Denver Mint, D mint mark. Over 800 million coins were produced. In total, more than 1 billion wheat pennies rolled out in 1958, making them very common in circulation, collectability and value. Because of these high mintages, most 1958 wheat pennies are worth only a few cents to $1 in circulated condition. However, value increases when coins are preserved in excellent, uncirculated grades. Brilliant red examples, graded by professional services, can fetch higher prices, sometimes $10 to $30 or more, depending on the grade, but the true stars are the rare errors and varieties. The most famous is the 1958 double-die obverse penny. On this coin, the inscriptions, "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date show clear doubling. Only a few examples are known to exist, making it one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents. One of these coins has sold for over $1 million at auction, cementing its legendary status in the world of coin collecting. Historical context: when Americans used the 1958 penny, the nation was in the middle of the post-war boom. Dwight D. Eisenhower was president, and the economy was strong. A loaf of bread cost about 20 cents, meaning a handful of pennies still had real buying power. Though just 1 cent, the Lincoln penny was a daily part of life, passing through the hands of millions. Conclusion: the 1958 Lincoln wheat penny may not seem rare at first glance, but it stands as a historic milestone. It was the final farewell to the wheat design, closing nearly half a century of coinage history, while also opening the door to the next era, the Lincoln Memorial Cents. For collectors, it represents both an affordable piece of history and, in rare cases, a chance at owning one of the most valuable pennies ever struck. So next time you come across a 1958 penny, take a closer look. You might just be holding a piece of history. Thanks for watching.